Hey folks, let's move on to another game. This time we're going to try a card game called BlackJack. Okay. If you don't know what BlackJack is, if you've never played it, I don't know if I was going to show you an example of me playing it, but then I thought maybe that would be setting a bad example. And then I thought, well, I could tell you to go play a game online, like Google BlackJack game, and try a couple hands. But I thought maybe that would be any bad example. So I can't advocate that you go play BlackJack, but we are going to make BlackJack. So if you're not allowed to make or play BlackJack, please make Go Fish or Old Maid. But yeah, just know that this is the one I'll be making. Okay, so it's a card game. You get 2 cards from a deck of 52 cards, and the values are between 1 and 11. Okay, so we're going to start off with values between 1 and 11. The player has to can only choose 2 things, hit or stay. Okay, hit means take another card. Stay means I don't want any more cards, I'm done. Okay, so the game is also called 21 because the point of the game is to try to reach 21 points. If you get to 21, you win automatically, but we're still going to have the dealer, try to beat you. There's kind of special rules for the dealer, but we're just going to make a dealer that tries to beat you. Okay. Let's see, what else? After the user chooses to stay, then the computer takes their 2 cards, does their turn. More realistically, we would say you should, you have 1 card face down, 1 card face up, and stuff like that. That's the more interesting version of BlackJack, but we're going to do a simple version. Okay, and the dealer is not going to hold on 17. They're going to keep taking cards until they either beat you or bust. That'll be, it'd be easier to program either way, but we're just going to do it that way because I think it's more interesting. Once we get done and get it all working, there's a few special cases we need to worry about. Are the cards statistically accurate? There are 3 face cards in the deck, and they're all worth 10 points. Okay, so if we get a round number between 1 and 13, well, first of all, we don't add the 11, 12, or 13, the Jack, Queen, and King to our score. They're still worth 10. So we're going to have to program that in. And then there's a final special case. The ace card is actually worth 1 or 11. Okay, and we'll actually just have it be worth 11 until the user busts, and then when they don't bust, we're going to have it just be worth 1. Or we could just ask them, hey, what do you want your ace to be worth? And maybe we could ask them every time if they have an ace. I don't know. We'll see what we do. Okay, let's go get started. New solution. Let's call it BlackJack. Let's make sure I'm in my Z drive. And I'll hit OK. And I'll just call this Mono4D BlackJack for 21. And I'm going to hit OK. And I always like to, right off the bat, instead of hello world, I'll just say welcome to Black Yar. Me name be BlackJack. And let's get him some cards. Let's right off the bat. Let's player takes 1 card. Player takes a card, I should say. Player takes a card. And console.writeLine. Player takes a card. You're like, why are you doing that? And let's actually takes card. And I like them to hit enter. Okay, even though they, and I could just automatically give them 2 cards and say, hey, your starting hand was worth 18 or something. But it's more interactive. It feels cooler if you hit enter to take a card. So we're going to console.readline in between card takes. Kind of like when you play a video game and you melee somebody, like if you hit your little analog stick to conk somebody on the head in Halo, you feel tougher than if it does it automatically. So we're not just getting a card. Maybe we should say press enter to take a card. That'll be a little better. And they don't get a choice on the first 2 cards. They have to take 2 cards, okay? So we're going to pause it there. And some of you, if you're a little more advanced, if you know what functions are, you might be looking at this right now and say, wait a minute, we're doing the same thing. We're taking a card. We're taking a card. that would be a good candidate for a function, so I don't recycle my code. And I'm like, yeah, but we don't know what functions are yet, so we're not quite there. At least most of us aren't. Okay, so we're going to take a card, we're going to read line, and let's get 2 cards. Okay, so we're going to need a variable in here. We're not going to make a variable called card. I guess we could make a variable called current card. Maybe we will. We'll come back and do that in a second, okay? What I do want is an int called hand total or total. Hand total. Okay, and it starts at 0, right? We don't have any cards to start with. We're going to press enter and take a card, and then we're going to add on to hand total. Okay, so I'll do this the wrong way, or the long way. Remember, this would be a line that would add on to hand total. And what if I got, let's pretend I get 10s, the first 2 hands, okay? And, you know, this is just the exact copy. I shouldn't have typed it twice, but I'm just showing that we're going to get 2 cards. And we're going to print out their total right now, okay? So, console.write, and I need to start using my autocomplete more. Console.writeLine, players, current hand, totals, and we're going to add on the variable, right? Okay. So this line, I'll copy and paste it. Run the program. Welcome to BlackJack. Press enter, take a card. And I should actually say they got a 10, right? Yeah. Player gets and then plus 10. I can probably just put the 10. Player gets sorry. Whoa, this is doing weird stuff on me. Gets a plus 10. I'm not sure why that's still orange. Oh, I'll try it. Player gets a 10. Okay. And oh gosh, I think I'm gonna get rid of this one for now until well, I'm gonna delete the bottom one just so I don't have to keep typing. It's hard enough to get one of them working. Okay. Player gets a 10, add on to their total, and what their total hand total is. Okay. Run it, enter, gets a 10, player's current hand total is 10, and we're done. Okay. So right here, we don't want a 10, right? Before I do it, let's do a random. Get a random number between, and if you don't remember, you go back to your handout, but it's between 1 and 11 to start with. And actually, it's going to be 2 and 11 or 1 and 10. I don't know, because that ace is tricky. Let's go between 1 and 10 to start with. I'm actually going to go modify this between 1 and 10. Well, it is between 1 and 11. You know what? Let's just go between 1 and 11. But the ace is the 1, or the ace is the 11. But we're just going to give them a 1 through 11 from now on. So, again, we're not going to give them a 10 every time. We're going to random. Oh, I need to make a random variable, right? The random class, an instance of the random class, so I can use it. So, random, the rand equals new random. I'm changing the name every time I use the random class to hopefully remind you that this is not a special name. It's whatever I call it. I could call it Bob, but I'm not gonna. And now we go the rand dot. Oh gosh, what was it? It was next. And what's my range? Well, it's between 1 and exclusive upper bound, so I'll go between 1 and 12. And I just created a random number. This could spit out a 6, and I didn't do anything with it, okay? So I need to say, oh, equals, and I go, oh, I could just add it on, but let's make a variable called current card. Int current card. We'll start it at 0 just to be safe. Int current card. Now current card is getting the value of the random number, and they get a current card, and hand total equals their old hand total, not plus 10 every time. What am I going to add on to their total? Well, pause the video, and if you don't understand this so far, then you're going to have trouble reproducing this during the test, okay? So we got two variables that I care about. Well, three. The random class, don't worry about that. Hand total and current card. What does each hand equal? What does the hand do every time I get a card? I take the old hand total plus whatever their new card is, the current card, okay? So let's try it. Enter, take a card. I got a 5, I'm gonna run again. I got a 6, run again. 7, oh my gosh. Oh good, it's not an 8, okay. So I'm getting random numbers up through 11, and I haven't got anything lower than a 6. There we go, I got a 1. Okay, now later on we'll say ace, jack, queen, king, and stuff. Don't worry, for now we're just, rolling a weird dice or something. Do the medium difficulty stuff before we do the hard stuff, okay? So just so you know, these 7 lines of code, and I can put this comment on the rand on next, just so it's attached there. Welcome to Blackjack. Press enter to take a card. I'm gonna put all this down as one block, okay? And it's kind of a long block, but let's press enter to take a card. Pauses for effect. Get a random number between 1 and 11. What does this line do? Tell the player what they got. Maybe I should be using a lot more comments in my programming. I probably should. Add the current card to their total and print it back out for them. That one's obvious. I'm not going to comment that. Okay. So let's do this twice. Okay. So player takes 2 cards. Every time we play. Okay. So I might remove this in a minute just because it's kind of difficult to see it twice. It's not difficult, it just makes it more busy and harder to read with the eyes. But okay, so they got 2 cards. They got a higher total. I could test it and make sure it works. Enter, I got a 9, enter, I got a 3, and I do have a 12 right now. Okay, and at that point it should say, hey, do you want to hit or stay? Okay, and that's going to be a loop. Okay, we're not going to hit or stay once. We're going to do while. Let's do while true just when we're starting off. I always like this autocomplete. I have to fight against it. I could turn it off, I guess, but okay, while true forever, and it's going to do kind of the same thing. Not just press enter to take a card, though, okay? So I'm going to paste it, and we're not going to do an input validation loop. All right, we'll do a little loop inside here, I guess. We don't just give them a random number, though, every time. So we're not going to press enter to take a card. We're going to ask them, hit or stay. And we could say H or S or type hit or stay. Let's make it as easy as we can. We'll just go 1. Hit or stay. 1 equals hit. 2 equals stay. Okay, and so they shouldn't type anything else. Now our console.read line does not pause for effect anymore. It actually checks to see what they typed in, okay? So what do we got, folks? We got some, we need a choice or an answer variable, okay? And this will be a string. Yeah, we're not gonna do any math with it, so it could be a string. Just so I don't have to cast. If I did it as an int, I would have to cast. So string choice equals, and they'll just not initialize it. And remember, if I did while choice equals H equals hit, then I would do that. But I'm going to break out of this loop. I think it's going to be a little easier. So choice equals whatever they did for console.readline. I needed to write down their choice so I can analyze it. Okay, let's pause here, see if you can go on. Let's do some pseudocode in a minute, but let's see, do you know what to do next? We are not just going to automatically give them a new card. What if they got 21 on the first hand, or 20 even, and they wanted to stop? Okay, we shouldn't trap them in this loop forever and say, hey, do you want a card, do you want a card, do you want a card? We should ask them if they want to hit or stay, and if they say stay, we're done. Move on to the dealer's turn. Okay. So let's try this. Why did I put a comment there? Console.readline. Yeah, because we're going to do a little validation loop in there. Okay, so while and heck, should we just start off the validation? We'll do the validation loop in a sec. Okay, if their choice and pause it and see if you know what they're doing. If their choice equals, I'm going to do it the wrong way first. If choice equals 1, then, and I can see already that I have a lot of lines to do. Okay, hit is all these lines of code. That means get a new card and add it on the total. So good thing I already wrote that because it saves me some time typing again. If choice equals 1, then do this. And now we could just do an else break. Let's try that. Okay, I'm probably not going to finish with that, but if they chose anything besides 1, well, they must have wanted to stay. Okay, and that's going to make our life easier, but their life more painful. Let's run it. Oh, can I not do else break? What am I? Oh, if choice equals 1. There we go. Operator double equals. Comparison cannot be applied to type operands of type string, which is what choice was, and int. Okay, so you're like, oh, let's make that a string. Let's run it. And a blackjack. I got 7. Let's hit enter. And once we're out of this while true loop, we can console.writeLane player stays with, and whatever their total is. Okay, so hand total. Okay, so run it. I hit enter, take 2 cards, and I hit enter again, and player stays with 17. Okay, so again, if it's not just 2, it's anything besides 1, they chose to stay right now. Okay, let's go try to hit some more. Enter, I got a 4. Hit me, so I'm hitting 1. And I shouldn't just say player gets a 1. Well, I could say player takes a hit, but it'll be obvious. Player gets a 1. Player gets a 9. Oh, this is 4 cards already. Nice. And I hit again, and I went to 27. Oh, I got an 11. And you're like, hey, I'm going to get the high score for this game. Hit me, Mick. No, he says, cut me, Mick. That's what he says. When Rocky's eye is like totally swollen shut and bleeding. How long is this video? 17 minutes. I'm going to stop pretty soon. But just know that that right there is a good start to blackjack, okay? We get 2 cards. We welcome them. We get a card and add it to our total. We get another card and add it to our total. We press enter so they feel like they're taking the card. And then as long as they want more cards, we keep giving them more cards. Once they don't say, hey, hit me, we break out, okay? That's a good start, and we'll pause and see you in the next video.